Ubuhle Boy. I'm from Endifuna Ukwazi. Now, I think the first question that I have would have related to the changing of the name of the project or the site, because majority of people know the site as Tafelberg site. An ordinary person, if you ask them about Tafelberg, everyone will know. So we were quite disturbed about the change of the name because it takes away from what people already know. But we want to ask questions around the process and the decision making, the internal decision making in terms of the announcement that was made by Tesha Simas earlier in the year around that a portion of the site would be used for what is called government services. What is that? What is government services? But also, how was that decision arrived at of a portion of the site would be used for government services? You'd recall that there were pre-feasibility studies that were made that said that about 270 units are possible on that site. Now we're left with a situation here that the only yield of social housing that we'll get is about 121 at best, 121 units. And we know for a fact that social housing institutions would only go for a site that would yield about 200 plus units. So who will develop these social housing units that we're speaking about here? And we know that we're in the middle of housing crisis. We know that domestic workers that work in this very sea point do not have a place to call a home, do not have affordable houses in this area of Sea Point. So how was that decision made internally? But also, was there any consultation with other spheres of government in terms of these so-called government services that we're speaking about here? And lastly, we want to register here that we're quite very disappointed in the process because the 353 on Main Road project officer, we've been sending quite a lot of emails to them that are not being responded to, seeking clarity in terms of the process, because we're told that the process is going to run for over 2 years. And also, we're concerned because the process is ongoing, and when we went to Concord, Constitutional Court, the Council of the Province, in that submission that they'd made there, they said that they would wait until the case is concluded before there's any movement about the Tafelberg site. But also there's this ongoing public participation process now, which is contradictory to what the Council of the Province had made before the court. So we're quite very confused about the inconsistencies by the Western Cape government insofar as this site is concerned. So we would need clarity in terms of that, what is said by the council and the ongoing process. Because it might very well be that we're engaging in a very fallacious process that will lead nowhere if we're not waiting. Because the excuse that Alan Wind has been using when being engaged about the site is that no, we're waiting for the court to proceed, to finalize the matter. But it seems that there are processes of, making decisions on the portion of the site being used for government services. There are decisions that are made about public participation process, which we welcome, by the way. We welcome public participation, and it seems that the process seems to have good intentions, but we're worried about the inconsistencies in communication from the department around this particular process. Thank you very much.
You spoke about the disappointment about the 200 or less than 200 social housing units. This, I think, is just to say that these are emerging concepts as we say that there are studies and impacts that need to be done. And you will be part of the process because from now, as Rolf has said, that there's a 30-day period where you will engage with the team. It could be, and also there's a financial feasibility that needs to be done. So this is not what is cast in stone. These are not the plans that we're going to be taking to get approvals from the city or Heritage Western Cape. But we have to start somewhere and build from that and see what makes sense, because the important thing is that we need to be able to deliver on that social housing, but it needs to be affordable and it needs to be feasible and doable. So there will be a time where the mixes and the uses are being, the numbers are being played around so that it is feasible. And I think the important thing here is that the department is not about, I think they were saying about the property, the department here is trying to make sure that it maximizes the benefit for affordable housing as much as it is possible. It is not about financial gain. This is not what we're trying to do, hence the question that says we are not trying, this is not about making money, but it's about responding to the mandate of the department. It's about making sure that we respond to providing affordable housing for the area. I'm not sure, there was a question also which I think Difunu was, you need to just also saying to the department around the constitutional court issue, to say why are we then going through with this process without waiting for the decision. I think that the department has to respond to our mandate is just to work on the planning to make sure that we are able to provide, which I think the wider aspect of the population would want to see as far as provision of affordable housing.